So the other day I ran across this YouTube video by a YouTuber named Nisha. The video was pertaining to financial goals that you would want to achieve in your 30s. I personally thought the video was amazing. There's a lot of things she said that I really gravitated towards, including this one thing that really resonated with me. It was basically along the lines of how we're handling finances when we're younger, typically in our 20s. And what she said was, and I'll paraphrase, your 20s is for failing fast and failing forward. What that basically meant for me is that in your 20s, you're going to make financial mistakes. But as long as you learn from them and do your best for them to never happen again, then later on in life, you're more than likely going to be fine. That resonated with me because I'm on the outside of my 20s. As a matter of fact, I actually turned 31 years old on the 8th. And my wife and I actually took a trip to New York City, which was really fun. But there was actually two financial things that I kept in mind after that experience. One, I definitely need a lot of money if I want to comfortably live in New York City. And two, I definitely need to sit down and start keeping in mind what financial goals I want to accomplish in my 30s. So here are some of those financial goals that I want to accomplish in my 30s, and maybe you and I can have some similarities and relate in some type of way. One day, I would absolutely love to make so much passive income that I can take that extra time and spend time with my friends, family, travel, spend time with my wife, or do other things that I love. But in the meantime, I do have an active job within my field, and luckily, I really enjoy that job. So while I'm working in the field, my goal is to make sure I do my best to work up in the ranks so I can be within the same field that I enjoy but make more money. And that's gonna happen in one or two different ways. One, I can work on getting promoted within my own company, which hopefully I will be by the end of this month, so cross your fingers for me. Or I can take my talents and experiences from this company and go towards other companies that require my experiences but are willing to pay me more, which a lot of millennials are doing nowadays. And depending on how you feel about that, you might be on either end. Definitely leave a comment below on how you feel about that. But those are the two different options that I have. For me, having an active income is still important, even though it's not my end game, because not only does it give me a financial foundation, but it also gives me kind of this financial peace of mind that allows me to take the time that I'm not working towards looking into other ways of making more passive income. But before I think about the passive income, I definitely need to get rid of all of my bad debt. My primary goal this year has shifted from saving a lot of money to paying off debt, because I can save a lot of money in that way as well. And I've learned that one of the biggest things I have to keep in mind when paying off debt is the mental mindset of how debt works in general. For example, when I was younger, and this sucks really saying this out loud, but I treated the balances of my credit card as income. So if I was out with some friends and I wanted to buy something pretty stupid, like something I didn't really need, if I hadn't gotten paid for my job yet, then I could say, oh, well, I got like $8,000 in credit. I'll just use a little bit to pay that off, which a lot of us do, and I guess that's okay. But my issue was I didn't think about, well, I need to pay this off by the end of the statement cycle or I'm going to get charged interest. And as months and months pass, that interest goes higher and higher, and it just gets worse. You want to use your credit cards on things that you can afford so you can pay those off before the end of the statement cycle, so you're avoiding that interest. Or worst case scenario, there may be major purchases that you have to make and you just have to be accepting of paying those off over a period of time, whether it's for an emergency, which is the primary advertisement for credit cards, or it's just something that you really want or that you really need, something that you'll enjoy that costs a lot of money. Credit cards for me are the most important thing that I'm trying to pay off because the interest is so high. But I also have other debt, like my car note, which as far as the ranking in interest is my lowest interest bearing form of debt. A lot of people may consider a car note one of the worst types of debt to have, especially if you compare the ones I have, simply because vehicles depreciate over time. But I'm not really too concerned about that, and I plan on keeping the vehicle that I have for as long as I can. Aside from the car note, I also do have student loans, which have a higher balance than all the other two, but are in the middle of the pack when it comes to its interest. But the reason I'm not concerned about it immediately is because a lot of people, including myself to a degree, may also consider student loan as somewhat of a good debt. And it really depends on the degree you got, the type of job you have, and how much it actually pays. For example, I eventually got my degree in mechanical engineering. I'm in the mechanical engineering field. And over the years, I've eventually got to a point where the amount of money that I make is pretty substantially higher than the amount of money I owe to universities or in college, even though I still gotta pay taxes and I still got other bills. So it's not like I can pay all my student loans within 6 months. But eventually I would imagine that I can get up to a point where the amount of money that I owe in student loans doesn't seem that concerning to me, and hopefully I can achieve the goal that I have to pay off all my student loans by the time I'm 40. So overall, paying off debt is important, but it sucks thinking about. But what doesn't suck thinking about is opportunity for passive income. Making money doing little to almost absolutely nothing is something that I really want to accomplish one day, enough to where I can pay my bills. And in my opinion, one of the easiest, if not the easiest way to earn passive income is investing in dividend paying stocks. You literally only need $1 with most investing apps to start getting paid dividends. Of course, it won't be a lot because you're investing only $1, but hopefully over time you can invest more and more, make more and more back. I personally started investing in the stock market in May of 2019, and I started intentionally investing in the dividend paying stocks a few months later. And I went from a portfolio that paid me about $77 a year in 2020 to a portfolio that will pay me about $300 by the end of this year. And that's only investing $25 a week. And the only reason I emphasize the point of how much I invest per week in a lot of my videos is just to prove the fact that you don't need a lot of money to make a lot of money in dividends or in the stock market in general. Yes, you can invest $1 million into a portfolio and immediately start making a lot of cash back. But the more time you spend not investing because you feel like you don't have enough, the more money you're losing by not investing to begin with. The whole purpose is to put your money to work. I worked hard to make the money I have, and now I want my money to work hard to make me more money. And of course, there are other forms of passive income that I'm working on, like YouTube, for example, which I guess you can consider more actively passive because I still have to research content, take notes, record, and edit. But otherwise, if my channel does well, you guys really enjoy the content, I can make money while I'm asleep, but we'll see what happens. Now, saving money has always been important to me, sometimes to a fault because there were other things I really need to do a little bit more, like pay off debt, but still very important. But I still managed to contribute about $50 a week or $2,600 a year into my high yield savings account that has currently a 4.55% interest rate, which is crazy, especially in comparison to the savings account that I had for a long time before even thinking about a high yield savings account. Ideally, I want to have 6 months worth of living expenses, but typically you want to at least shoot for 3 months. Even though saving money is really important to me, I didn't really think about how important it is for society in general. There's actually a survey on Bankrate that shows over 70% of people are saving money right now due to external economic factors, aka high inflation. People are really concerned that things are becoming more and more expensive, and things being more and more expensive are making them less likely to purchase it. So instead of doing that, they're saving money. It makes sense. What's pretty interesting is that same survey shows that only 48% of people have enough money to cover 3 months worth of their living expenses. And what's actually pretty sad is that 22% of people don't have a savings account at all, which is really scary. So regardless of how much money you may have, if you can contribute a couple of dollars into a savings account a week or a month, that's better than doing nothing at all. Same concept with investing. Now, out of all the goals I've set for myself for my 30s, obviously the goal that really excites me the most is the passive income, being able to make money while asleep so I can have time to do other things. And yes, I only invest $25 a week, which doesn't really give me millions of dollars a year in returns, but you'd be surprised by the amount of bills that I can actually pay. Like, it's ridiculous. I'll talk a lot about it in this video, so make sure you guys check that out. Maybe it can be of some motivation to you. But I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, as always, take care.